I've always believed that families are held together by an unspoken agreement, an understanding that we help each other not because we owe it, but because love makes generosity feel natural. But somewhere along the line, my sister Mia forgot that part. Or maybe I just kept giving until she assumed my help was her right, not my choice. It started on a Thursday night, one that already felt too heavy for my shoulders. I'd been hunched over my laptop for hours, preparing for a presentation that had the chance to change the trajectory of my career. My desk was scattered with coffee mugs, highlighters, and sticky notes that fluttered every time the heater kicked on. The room felt stale, tired just like me. At 9:47 p.m., my phone buzzed with a text from Mia. "Mia, hey, I need you to babysit tomorrow night. Can you? It's important." That word important had a different meaning for her than it did for most people. For Mia, it usually meant she had a date, or a concert popped up, or she wanted a break from being a mom for a few hours. And yes, I loved my niece and nephew, but tomorrow night was not an option. I took a deep breath and typed carefully. "Me, can't tomorrow. I have a big presentation first thing in the morning. I really need to focus tonight." I stared at the screen, hoping she would understand. Hoping, foolishly, that she would treat my time with the same respect I treated hers. Her response arrived instantly, like she'd been waiting to be offended. "Mia, are you serious? You know I have plans. You always ruin things for me." My chest tightened, always. I blinked at the message, baffled by how quickly she transformed a simple boundary into a personal attack. I had spent years stepping in for her years. Late night phone calls when she needed emergency babysitting. Afternoons when I left work early because she forgot to pick up the kids. Weekends when I changed my plans so she could have me time. I never complained. I never made her feel guilty. I just helped because that's what older sisters do, or so I'd always believed. Before I could respond, another message popped up. "Mia, seriously, Ava, you can't say no. I already told Ethan we're going out. Don't ruin this for me." Her entitlement crawled under my skin, but what came next didn't just crawl. It stabbed. "Mia, if you don't babysit, I'm telling Mom you were planning to back out of the trip anyway. She'll believe me. She always does." I froze. I stared at the words until they blurred, until my breath felt too shallow and my stomach twisted into a tight, cold knot. My hands began to shake, not with fear but with disbelief. She didn't just demand my help. She weaponized my own family against me. What stunned me most wasn't the threat itself. It was how effortlessly she made it. No hesitation, no guilt. Like she'd been saving it for a moment when she really wanted something from me. She had no idea what she was jeopardizing. No idea that I had spent 2 years quietly saving for a massive family vacation. No idea that I had been planning the surprise of a lifetime. And in that moment, as my phone lit up with her angry voice messages, I realized something painful and sharp. Mia didn't see me as a sister. She saw me as a convenience, and she assumed I would always choose her needs over my own. This time, she was wrong. The next morning, long before the sun rose, I found myself sitting on the edge of my bed, staring at the dim glow of my phone. My alarm hadn't gone off yet, but sleep had left me hours earlier. Mia's threat still echoed in my head, bitter and heavy, like a bruise forming beneath the skin. I took a deep breath and forced myself to get up. I had a presentation to deliver, a presentation I had been preparing for months. My job mattered, my future mattered, and yet, somehow, I had let Mia's selfishness creep into every corner of my mind. Driving to work, I tried to shake off the tightness in my chest, but my thoughts remained tangled. How had things gotten this bad? When had I become the sister who existed only to patch up Mia's life? When had she stopped appreciating the sacrifices I made? As I walked into the conference room, laptop in hand, something unexpected happened. The moment I began presenting, when the room fell silent, when my voice steadied, when the slides glowed behind me, I felt something loosen inside me. A reminder that I was capable, competent, and valuable, not just to my family, but to myself. When the presentation ended to warm applause, my boss pulled me aside with a smile. "You nailed it, Ava. Honestly, this could open new doors for you." Her words felt like sunlight after days of storm clouds. For a moment, I allowed myself to feel proud, to remember the version of me that existed long before I became the family problem solver. But the moment I stepped back into my car, the high faded. My phone buzzed with new messages from the family group chat. Mia had doubled down. "Mia, Ava made everything harder again. I swear she lives to ruin my plans. Aunt Lucy, let's stay calm, girls." "Mia, no, because she doesn't care about any of us." I stared at the screen, my fingers gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles whitened. She had no idea. No idea how many times I skipped outings with friends because I was saving money. No idea how many Saturday mornings I spent at extra freelance jobs instead of resting. No idea that I had been planning quietly, patiently, and $18,000 surprise family vacation for all of us. A vacation I thought would bring us closer. A vacation I thought would heal old wounds, make new memories. A vacation I thought they deserved. My mind drifted to the moment I booked it. How excited I'd been, clicking confirm. The resort photos, the sandy beaches, the family-sized suites, the guided tours, all the little details I had chosen with love. I imagined my parents' warm smiles, Mia's look of disbelief, the kids bouncing with excitement. But now those imagined smiles felt ridiculous, naive. Mia's entitlement had always been a problem, but this time it was different. Her threat had sliced through something deep inside me, something tender, something I didn't even realize was still vulnerable. She had tried to manipulate me with the very family I was bending over backward to celebrate, and the worst part wasn't the threat. It was the expectation behind it, the assumption that I would never stand up to her, that no matter what she said or did, I would swallow the hurt and keep giving. Mia continued sending messages that afternoon, each one more entitled than the last. Her arrogance dripped through every word. But amid the anger and disappointment swirling inside me, another feeling began to take root, a calm, steady clarity. For the first time, I saw the truth of it all. They didn't appreciate the vacation. They didn't appreciate me. And maybe the trip they didn't deserve shouldn't happen at all. The decision didn't happen in a burst of anger. It wasn't a dramatic, impulsive moment where I shouted, "That's it," and slammed my laptop shut. It was quieter, steadier, almost eerily calm. On Saturday morning, 2 days after Mia's threat, I sat at my dining table with a cup of coffee growing cold in my hands. The early sunlight spilled across the hardwood floor in warm ribbons, painting the room in gold, but inside me everything felt cold and sharp. My laptop hummed softly as it woke from sleep mode. I clicked open the folder labeled Family Vacation 2025. All the bookings were laid out neatly: flights, resort stays, activities, excursions. I'd planned everything down to the airport shuttle and the snorkeling tour that Mia once said she dreamed of trying. I hovered my cursor over the cancel reservation button for the flights first. My stomach knotted, not with guilt, but with the weight of a truth I had finally stopped resisting. I was pouring love into people who treated kindness like currency they didn't have to repay. My phone buzzed beside me. "Mia, I'm going to assume you're babysitting tonight, since you still haven't said otherwise." The absolute certainty, the entitlement, the assumption that silence meant obedience. I didn't respond. Instead, I clicked cancel. The confirmation window popped up instantly. "Are you sure you want to cancel these tickets?" Yes, I was sure. Sure, in a way, I hadn't been about anything involving my family in a long time. One by one, I canceled the flights, the resort package, the guided excursions. Each refund notification chimed like a bell marking the end of an era. Ding, 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 a liberation soundtrack. By the time the last booking disappeared from the screen, a strange warmth spread through my chest. Not joy, not triumph, something deeper, something like reclaiming a piece of myself I hadn't realized was missing. Only then did I open the family group chat. For a moment, I just stared at the blank message box. My hands trembled slightly, not from fear, but from the significance of the moment. Then I typed, I want everyone to know something. For the last 2 years, I've been saving to take all of us on a fully paid family vacation. Flights, resort, everything. I booked it months ago. I planned it with love. But after the messages I've received this week, after being threatened, disrespected, and treated like I owe you my life, I have canceled the entire trip. The money is back in my account. I won't be used anymore. I hit send. The chat exploded within seconds. Mom, Ava, what vacation? Why didn't you tell us? Dad, can we talk about this calmly? Aunt Lucy, sweetheart, I'm so sorry. Mia, are you kidding me? How could you cancel it because I was upset for one day? You're punishing the whole family because you're sensitive? I stared at her message, feeling no sting, only confirmation that I had made the right choice. I'm not punishing the family. I'm protecting myself from people who treat me like a resource, not a sister. Mia sent 3 voice notes crying, yelling, twisting the story so she became the victim. I didn't listen to a single one. Instead, I muted the group chat and closed my laptop with a slow, quiet finality. For the first time in years, I wasn't the peacekeeper. I wasn't the fixer. I wasn't the doormat. I was simply a woman who finally understood her worth. And standing up for myself felt like the sweetest revenge of all. In the days that followed the canceled vacation announcement, an unfamiliar silence settled over my life. Not the tense, uncomfortable kind that comes before another storm, but a stillness that felt almost sacred. I kept expecting the guilt to come crashing down on me, the old instinct to fix everything, to smooth the wrinkles of conflict like I always did. But instead, what rose inside me was relief, pure, golden, unapologetic relief. I took Monday off work, not because I needed recovery time, but because I finally had the freedom to choose rest without asking permission from anyone. I booked a small lakeside cottage for myself with a fraction of the refunded money, a quiet place I'd always wanted to visit but never had the right moment for. The moment I arrived, I felt my lungs expand in a way they hadn't in years. The cottage was simple but beautiful. Weathered wood siding, a screened porch, and a view of the lake so still it looked like glass. The air smelled of pine and damp earth, and the water carried the faint shimmer of autumn sunlight. That first night, I curled up on the porch swing with a blanket and a cup of tea. The lake mirrored the sky, soft and dusky, and the only sounds were crickets singing and a distant owl calling from the tree line. For the first time, I allowed myself to breathe without bracing for the next demand, the next crisis, the next emotional ambush. On the second day, my phone buzzed with another message, this time from my mother. Her words were different now, softer than they'd been in years. Mom, Ava, I'm sorry. I didn't realize how much we've put on you. I should have protected you more. We should have appreciated you better. I read those words twice, then a third time. They didn't erase everything, but they meant something healing. For so long, I'd accepted the role of emotional caretaker, financial backup, and problem solver. I'd assumed that was just my place in the family. But hearing my mother acknowledge the imbalance made me feel seen for the first time in a long time. Mia's messages were different erratic apologies intertwined with defensive excuses. Mia, I didn't mean it like that. Mia, you know I get stressed. Mia, you didn't have to cancel everything. Mia, please talk to me. I didn't answer, not out of bitterness, but because I needed space. Real, protected space. Boundaries weren't walls. They were doors I could close gently and open carefully. And for the first time, the door between myself and my sister needed to remain shut. By the third day, I found myself standing barefoot on the dock, the cold wood warming beneath the late morning sun. I closed my eyes, let the breeze brush against my cheeks, and felt something inside me shift, a release. A letting go of years of resentment I hadn't even realized I'd been carrying. I understood now that choosing myself wasn't betrayal, it was survival. When I finally returned home, I felt lighter. The family group chat had gone quiet, as if everyone knew something fundamental had changed. I wasn't their fixer anymore. I wasn't their fallback plan, and they seemed to understand finally that they didn't get to treat me like one. In the months that followed, they approached me with more respect, cautious at first, careful, but appreciation began to bloom where entitlement once thrived. As for Mia, she never outright admitted her wrongdoing, but her tone softened. She asked instead of demanded. She hesitated before assuming. She tried, and maybe that was enough for now, because the true victory wasn't the cancelled vacation or the shock it caused. It was the quiet strength I found after. The peace that comes from choosing yourself fully and without regret. And standing in that peace, I knew one thing with absolute clarity: I hadn't ruined anything. I had simply stopped letting others ruin me.